Welcome to our 13th episode of our Inspiration with Ines, our series dedicated to inspiring conversations about wedding planning. Today, we're very excited to have Alison McGill as our guest. She's an award-winning editor, writer, creative producer, media personality, and our resident serious royal watcher. Alison has been featured as a guest expert on a variety of programs, including Cityline, E-Talk, The Social, Your Morning, and many, many more. Alison has experience of providing the inside scoop on the latest wedding trends and tips for brides. So thank you for joining us today, Alison.
Thanks, Veronica. And now I can add Inspiration with Ines to my media cred.
I am so thankful and happy to have you on our show. Today, we're going to be talking about Princess Di's upcoming 40th wedding anniversary. Charles and Diana's wedding occurred on July the 29th, 1981 at St. Paul's Cathedral, drawing in over 750 television spectators across 74 countries, setting records for the most watched procession in history. Many of us can remember this day, and it was an incredibly powerful moment, wasn't it, Alison?
It was, but I have to tell you, you said 750 viewers, 750 million viewers.
Yes, thank you for the correction.
Yes, no problem. See, I did my research.
Yes, you absolutely. Actually, you're a serious royal expert. I mean, you love everything across the pond. Tell us your fascination.
My family is British, and I guess I was just born with it. I just really grew up in that whole realm of my grandma was very into the royal family, so I really did come by it naturally. But it's interesting to see how they've evolved. And I mean, we're diverting here for a minute, but the Queen is such a remarkable woman at 95 years old to be doing what she's doing. So that's a diversion from this royal topic. But Diana is someone who's captured the imagination for years, 40 years. Charles and Diana's royal wedding was 40 years ago, and we're still talking about this wedding dress, which really has become a part of fashion history. And it was such a moment in time, this dress. There was so much surrounding it. It was the most closely guarded secret in fashion history, as they say. It actually had a duplicate dress, which we can talk about, which little is known about. You really have to dig for that information. But that dress, it just went on display at Kensington Palace. So obviously the draw to see this really iconic moment in fashion history is still so great. And I have seen this dress in person when it came to Toronto. It was at the Design Exchange. And it really is larger than life. What didn't this dress have? It had ruffles, it had balloon sleeves, it had lace, it had silk taffeta, a 25-foot train, crazy embellishment. It was just really of the time. It couldn't have been any more 80s.
It couldn't have. And I heard that it actually didn't fit in the carriage. The train was so long and they had to stuff it in. It got a little bit wrinkled.
Well, that's, a lot of people who say they remember watching the wedding, the first thing they said was when Diana got out of the dress, how wrinkly it was. But, I know at Ines, you can speak to, silk taffeta is an unforgiving fabric and it's a heavy fabric. So she was carrying a lot of fabric there. And then also we didn't address the petticoats. There was multiple layers of petticoats under that dress to give it the volume, with a little gold horseshoe sewn into those petticoats for good luck. And it had all kinds of symbolism in this dress. She had her something blue as a little bow sewn into the waistband inside the dress. And it just, the fashion story of this dress goes on, as we know, and that's why we're here.
Absolutely. It was such a landmark moment, and it inspired so much of the wedding fashion to come. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, we really had more than a decade of the Diana influence. It really didn't change until Carolyn Bessette Kennedy got married in the 90s and had that Narciso Rodriguez slip dress. So it really flipped. But volume and sleeves and all that detailing was so big through the 80s. And it's back now, as we know. Ines has some amazing gowns that are very Diana-esque in this latest season. And I don't think anyone in the industry would have thought that all of that would come back. Now it's come back in a modern, nuanced way, but the sleeves are definitely back, which to me was really the hallmark of that gown.
I totally agree. And who doesn't love a puffy sleeve? I think it totally, totally, makes the outfit. Let's discuss a little bit more about the details. There was 10,000 pearls centering on a heart motif, this 18 karat gold horseshoe that was stitched into the petticoat, which we talked about, which was a sign of good fortune. The lace used to trim it was antique and handmade. Square, it was handmade and of a square Carrick cross lace that had belonged to Queen Mary, and it was attached to the gown with this little petite blue bow. I just love that.
I love that detail too. And I think
Yeah.
what's really interesting is, she had, of course, the crazy train on this dress, 25 feet long. And everything about it was more is more is more. But her beauty look, I want to touch on for a second, because she definitely, stayed true to herself. Her hair was very Diana. She kept it short. She kept it feathery. I love that. She had all the crown jewels, but she really remained true to her vibe. And even her makeup look, super natural. But there was a hint of the navy eyeliner that she loved so much. And she just sort of smudged that along her waterline. But she looked like Diana beauty-wise. I love that she stayed true to herself that way and had this, it all worked. It doesn't sound like it would, because her look was very natural, but then she had this really epic confection of a dress, but it all synergized.
Simple, understated elegance is what she always has been. And I think it's so true. Like you said, so true to her. She didn't step totally outside the box when it came to her wedding look. She stayed very true to herself, which I think is what we love about Princess Di, is that that's her, right? It very much is her.
Yeah, and I would say, when we look back at the most iconic brides, because there are a few, I'm going to point to Gwen Stefani, because I think she's definitely one, wedding one and wedding two. But Gwen absolutely stayed true to her aesthetic, like both times, both very different dresses. But like her beauty look, she wore the red lipstick, she went for the lashes, she did Gwen. And everything about her look really embodied that. So I think that's all part and parcel of having an iconic style.
Tell us more about royal fashion that you love, or what comes to mind when you think about people that have made such an impact on you in terms of royal fashion.
Well, the royal bride has always been fairly enigmatic, and it's really a moment that it's interesting, because we feel like we've been to this wedding, we've seen all the details, but we really haven't. We've just seen what we are supposed to see. Like we don't see the floral arrangements, we don't see the tablescapes, we don't see inside all that reception stuff. So that's why I think the fashion is such a fantasy with royal weddings. So there's been a few. Obviously, Kate Middleton, another iconic bride, changed the landscape of bridal fashion. She brought back sleeves as well. She had very fitted, beautiful lace sleeves, a corsetry bodice. That gown was impeccable. The Alexander McQueen gown was really incredible. And still, right now, 10 years later, they just had their 10th anniversary, still very much on point. Meghan was a minimalist bride, which I also appreciated. She did her own vibe. She had an amazing veil that was all customized, but her Givenchy dress was very simple and probably not what most people were expecting. I know I didn't know what to expect, but there was no detailing on that dress whatsoever, which is a real departure, but also really embracing sort of the modern vibe of now. But I think my favorite one in recent times has to be Princess Beatrice, because she got married last year in the pandemic. Royals just like us, she had the most intimate wedding, but she went vintage, and what a closet to shop. She wore one of the Queen's dresses and had it tailor-made for her. Absolutely an amazing, beautiful story. And, I just loved her whole vibe. Like, I loved the photos that we saw. Her flowers were incredible. I love that she kept it small. Of course, that's how everybody was getting married in 2020 and in 2021. But she did something that no other royal bride had done before. And it was really nice from a sustainability perspective. Mm-hmm. And it just told a really nice story. I mean, like I said, what a closet to shop. The Queen has some incredible, incredible pieces. So I thought that was a really sweet and amazing story. And again, very iconic.
Very iconic. I absolutely agree with you. I love I love that it was such a guarded secret and that they were able to pull it off without it even getting out. But what really I find fascinating is that they did have the second gown ready to go in the event that it got leaked. Have you seen an image of this gown? Have you been able to locate it? I have not been able to.
I have not. I have not sent out the fashion spies. They have not found this gown. It's really a little known fact, but if you dig for it, you can find it. So what did it look like? Was it designed by the Emanuels who did her first dress? Don't know. We don't know a lot about this. So, maybe one day we'll have a royal surprise and the second dress will surface. But how fascinating. Like, this is the lengths that they went to for privacy and security. Very, very interesting.
Very interesting. And talk to us about the shoes. I saw an image of the shoes. I thought they were darling. They totally reminded me of you because I know you love kitten heels.
Yes. So her shoes were amazing, but we really didn't see any of them the day. When I saw them for the first time, really, it was when I saw them on display with the dress. And they were really a beautiful slipper decorated with pearls and lace, like the dress, sort of a block kitten heel on them because Diana was tall. And I love that she didn't have a huge heel under her dress. I mean, I can't imagine navigating all that with heels. So they were really beautiful and, again, custom made, and something to see if you get an opportunity to see the shoes and the gown, which maybe we need to hop over to London when it's safe to do so. We need to go and check this out at Kensington Palace. It's on display till January.
I would love that. I think that would be such a great trip. Alison, what do you think is in store now for brides that are looking to walk down the aisle? What do you think? What are your predictions?
Well, I did speak to Ines about this in relation to the Diana style. I did an article for Hello Canada magazine talking about iconic brides. And of course, I'm going to say sleeves and volume and some grandioseness is on the radar, because the pandemic has impacted so many things in life and with weddings, but fashion wasn't one of them. So brides are really going, they're going in two directions. They're either going, very maximalist and over the top and going for it, or minimalist, less detailing and being creative with what they do. Maybe wearing brides are wearing up to 3 looks, I'm hearing, because they're just going for it. So now is the time. And I think that we all need to just sort of embrace these times, have some fun, and especially with your bridal look. Like, there's so many options now of what you can wear: color, volume, minimalism, lace, pantsuits, jumpsuits. Like, it's never been a better time. I feel like I've said that for seasons, but I really do mean that now. There's so many options.
Absolutely. And fitting in a few more fashion choices is always fun, especially if you're trying to do a micro wedding.
We love that.
We love that. We
micro
love that.
Wedding, maximum impact, as I like to say.
Absolutely. When doing some of the research, I was so shocked to hear that Diana rang up David and Elizabeth Emanuel, the designers of the gown, just like any other common person. Called up, asked for an appointment, came in, met with them, and the rest is history. Can you talk to us a little bit more about her and, I guess, the designers?
Pretty amazing story, really. But that really spoke to, how Diana was, and those that knew her closely said, she was just that type of person. She was, very accessible. She was very normal. And, I love that story. I actually have a book written by the Emanuels that I picked up when I was at Kensington Palace a few years back. And it's called A Dress for Diana. And it's really cool because it details the whole story of the book, the whole story of the dress. It's a beautiful coffee table book. But, this was such a moment for this couple. And we're still talking about them. They're not together anymore. They were husband and wife at the time. But we're still talking about them. And we're still talking about this impact that they made with this dress. But they weren't a huge name. So, they became one overnight, basically.
I love that story. Alison, I'm so excited to have been able to talk to you about this. This is such a historical moment, and you truly are the expert. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thanks for having me. And Veronica, you just let me know anytime you want to chat anything wedding, fashion, or celebrities. I'm your girl.
You definitely are. Thank you so much, Alison. Can't wait to see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.